Hey guys, welcome back. This is example 2 from writing exponential functions. Each year the local country club sponsors a tennis tournament. Play starts with 128 participants, and during each round half of the players are eliminated. So what is A and what does it mean? Remember, what did we start with? So in this case we would say A is 128, and you could say because it starts with 128. Now it says participants, I'm going to say players because they are playing tennis. What is B and what does it stand for? In this case, half of the players are being eliminated. So B would be 1/2. Oop, I misspelled eliminated. I'm just going to go ELIM. And it would be each round. So every round, just like a normal bracket, like if you've ever played a sport and half people get cut. So the equation in this case would say y equals 128. Now I'm going to tell you, fractions are picky. I'm going to put mine in parentheses. When you go to use your calculator, the parentheses will be important, and I'm going to put an X. In this case, since half of the players are eliminated each round, X would be the number of round that you are on. Like, have they played one game? Have they played two? What round are they on? So that's what that would go with. So in this case, domain and range. So X would be the rounds, and Y would be the number of players. So rounds, you have to at least play, I guess, well, when you start, you've played 0 rounds of tennis. So we're going to say X has to be greater than or equal to 0. We're going to come back to that one in just a second, because if you think about it, kids, at some point, you're not just going to go ultimate rounds. Like, when does it stop? When have you gone through all of the players? And then players, somebody has to win. So 128 is the most players, but one person will win the tournament. So there's never less than one. So in this case, that's what the range would be. You know what? I'm going to pull up my calculator. Let's figure out how many rounds happens. So what I'm going to do is, I know I start with 128 players, and I'm going to multiply this times 1/2, and that would be, oh man, okay, this would be 2, 1/2. So one round, half the players go, there'd be 64. I'm going to do that times 1/2 too. So after one round, 64 players are left. Okay, then there's 32, and I'm going to keep going. Oops. Okay, we're down to 16. Because you're losing half of the players every time. You know you could divide by 2. So now we're down to 8. Kids, what would half of 8 be? It'd be 4 and then 2. So times, I'm going to do 1/2 again. Okay, times 1/2 again. So we're down to 2 players. Whoever wins this is 1. So there would be one more round. So the one round I haven't done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 rounds that we would play. And so that would be the total number of rounds. We couldn't keep going is what would happen. So in this case, I'm going to change this a little bit. We start with 0 rounds. But the most we could play is 7, because after 7 rounds, then you'd have a winner. Okay, so on this next question, it says, how many players are left after 5 rounds? Remember, that is an X value. I want you to pause your video, see if you can figure that out. You can use your equation and then use your calculator. Pause the video, see what you get. Okay, I got 4. I just rewrote my equation like that, and then on my calculator, here's how I typed it in, and my answer said 4. All right, next one. After how many rounds does it take for 2 players to be left? This case, this is a y equals 2. So replace your y, use your calculator, and see what you get. Pause your video, try your best, and then you can come back and check it. Okay, I got 6. I typed mine in exactly like I saw it. Remember, I said the parentheses were a big deal with fractions and exponentials. I did comma X and I got 6. So in this case, it would be 6 rounds. All right, I'm going to help you set up the next one, and then I'm going to let you try your best on this one. In 1985, there were 285 cell phone subscribers in a small town of Centerville. The number of subscribers increased by 75% per year after 1985. What is A? What does it mean? How many did we start with? Good, 285. So in this case, 285, and it's because we start with all right, what is B and what does it mean? I'm going to tell you B in this case is trickier. Anytime you're dealing with percentages, remember it would be 0.75. But if you're increasing by that much, you have to consider the fact you start with everybody plus 75%. So this is true with all percentages. Increased by, you have to do plus 0.75 and you start with 1. And the reason you start with 1, which in this case we would say is 1.75, is this represents 100% plus this is the 75% increase. Anytime you deal with percentages, this is how you have to handle it, and it does feel a little tricky, but that's the reason why. So in this equation, we would say y equals 285 is still A, but B is this whole value here, which is 1.75, and then that would be to the power of x. I know these are just tricky. You just got to trust me on this one. If it's increasing by a percent, you add the percent. If it decreases by a percent, you would subtract it from 100. So that's how you would have to handle that. All right, domain and range. Oh, let's talk, what was this x? So it says per year, so this is the year, and then of course y would be the subscriber. So in this case, x would be the year since 1985. And of course that would mean 1985 is year 0. So we would say x is greater than or equal to 0 years since 1985. And then in this case, y would be the subscribers. So this is people. And the lowest amount of people I had was 285, and you all know what happened with cell phones. Boy, we started with a small number. It is not small anymore. So in this case, we're going to say y is greater than or equal to 285. Obviously, not all 7+ billion people on the planet have a cell phone, but you know, it goes up. So I'm going to help get you started on the last two, and I'm going to let you go on these, see how you do. How many subscribers were in Centerville in 1994? So X is the years since 1985. So to find this X value, you would need to do 1994 minus 1985 when it started. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 1994 minus 1985, and I get 9 years. So in this case, X is 9. So when you type it in on your calculator, you'll replace that. And then the last one, in what year did the subscribers reach 75,000? That is a Y value, 75,000. So think about how you could use your calculator for both of those, try them, and then come back and you can check my answers and we'll see how you did. Okay, here are my two answers. The first one was simple. It would be 43,872 people. And then the second one, the only thing I do want to point out, when I did InSolve, this is the answer I got in InSolve, which is about 10 years later. And so if we started in 1985, we're talking about 1995 is when you hit 75,000 people. Here's the work on my calculator. In case you need to see that, make sure you typed it in correctly if you did not get what I got. Alright guys, that's it for examples 2 and 3. We will finish this lesson in the next video. See you soon.